This story is titled, Roommate Secretly Filmed Our Apartment for Her Social Media Fame. Using my personal life for content, what her followers did next made her delete everything. You ever have one of those moments where you realize your whole life has been a joke, but you're the only one who wasn't in on it? That was me, standing in the middle of my own apartment, scrolling through a social media account I didn't even know existed, one that had been broadcasting my life to thousands of strangers without my permission. I wish I could say I had no idea, that I was completely oblivious to what was happening under my own roof. But looking back, there were signs. I just didn't put them together in time. Before everything fell apart, I had a normal, quiet life. I lived with my roommate, Natalie, who seemed like the perfect person to share a space with, clean, friendly, paid her rent on time. I worked from home as a freelance graphic designer, keeping to myself most days, absorbed in my deadlines and personal projects. My biggest concerns were whether my clients would pay on time, and what I'd cook for dinner. That was it. Simple. Natalie, on the other hand, was always on her phone, always scrolling, always posting. I knew she was obsessed with social media, but I figured that was just her thing. We all have hobbies, right? I'd see her setting up her ring light in the living room, filming makeup tutorials or those fake waking up naturally videos that I later learned took about 15 tries to get right. It never bothered me, until I found out I was part of the content without knowing it. The first red flag should have been the weird interactions I started having with strangers. A few months ago, I was at the grocery store when some girl smiled at me like we were old friends. "Oh my God," she had said, giggling. "You're the guy from Nat's page, right?" I had no idea what she was talking about, so I just nodded and left. I figured she must have mistaken me for someone else. But then it happened again. And again. People started commenting on things I wore, the way I walked, even the food I bought, like they already knew me. I chalked it up to coincidence. I was so wrong. Because last week, I finally found out the truth. And that's when my life changed forever. It all started with an innocent notification. One night, I was lying in bed, scrolling aimlessly through my phone, when I got tagged in a comment on a video. The account name wasn't familiar, some trendy social media handle, but the video thumbnail made my stomach drop. It was my apartment. My couch. My coffee table. I clicked on it, and suddenly, I was watching my own life unfold from an angle I had never seen before. The caption read, "My roommate has no idea I caught this on camera." The video showed me walking into the living room, yawning, completely unaware of the fact that I was being filmed. The camera had been hidden somewhere, capturing me scratching my head, stretching, and sitting down with my laptop. Completely mundane, completely normal. Except thousands of people were watching it. I scrolled through the comments. "LMAO, he's so clueless. OMG, what does he even do all day? He's kinda cute though. Tell him we said hi." I felt sick. I kept scrolling, my hands shaking as I realized this wasn't the only video. Natalie had been documenting everything, my eating habits, my laundry routine, even my late-night fridge raids. She had given me a nickname, calling me Mysterious Roommate, like I was some quirky character in her personal reality show. There were dozens of these clips, some with hundreds of thousands of views. I clicked on another one. This time, the caption read, "Roommate drama. Should I confront him?" It was footage of me sitting on the couch, looking exhausted, probably after a long workday. But the way she edited it made it look like I was mad, like I was giving her an attitude over something. The comment section was a mess of people taking sides in an argument that never even happened. "Ugh, he seems so toxic. He looks like such a red flag. Throw the whole man out." I stared at my screen, trying to process what I was seeing. I wasn't just being filmed. I was being turned into content. Into some fake storyline for people to gossip about. And I had no clue. Then I saw the worst part, the live stream. Pinned at the top of her profile was a replay of a live broadcast from the night before. And as soon as I opened it, my blood ran cold. Because Natalie had been in my room. While I was asleep. I felt my chest tighten as I hit play. The live stream replay started with Natalie whispering into the camera, a devious little grin on her face. "Okay, guys, I'm gonna show you what Mysterious Roommate is really like," she giggled. "Sure, he's sleeping." The camera shook slightly as she crept into my room. The dim glow from the hallway revealed my sleeping form, curled on my side, completely unaware that my so-called roommate was standing over me with her phone, broadcasting my vulnerability to thousands of strangers. The chat was flooded with comments. OMG, this is so wrong, but I can't stop watching. Does he snore? Girl, you're wild for this. Imagine if he wakes up El Mayo. She hovered over me for a few more seconds before zooming in on my nightstand, my phone, my keys, my wallet, my private things. Then she giggled and left the room, ending the stream with a dramatic mission accomplished. I sat there, my pulse hammering, my brain struggling to process what I had just seen. This wasn't just some silly prank. This wasn't just her filming me eating cereal or watching TV. This was a violation. I had been turned into entertainment without my consent. My most private moments, my home, had been turned into a stage for strangers to comment on. And Natalie? She was loving every second of it. Fury bubbled up inside me, but beneath it, there was something worse. Fear. How long had she been doing this? How many nights had she stood in my doorway, watching me sleep, feeding her audience whatever twisted narrative she wanted? I jumped out of bed, pacing my room, my mind racing with all the ways this could have gone even worse. What if she had taken things further? What if she had touched my stuff? What if? I grabbed my phone and went back to her page. She had millions of followers. The comments on her posts weren't just from casual viewers. Some of these people had been following along for months. They felt like they knew me. Like I was some character in their favorite drama series. And the scariest part? Some of them were trying to find me. I couldn't breathe. My mind kept repeating the same thought, over and over. She had been filming me for months. Strangers had been watching me, commenting on me, analyzing my life like I was some reality show character. I scrolled further through the comments, hoping, praying, that I was overreacting, that this wasn't as bad as it seemed. But it only got worse. I think I figured out where he works. The background in one of the vids looks like a graphic design office downtown. OMG, someone posted his LinkedIn in another thread. He's actually super talented. If I lived in their city, I'd totally track him down just to see what he's like IRL. They weren't just watching me. They were hunting for me. My stomach twisted. I had spent years carefully keeping my personal and work life separate online. And now, because of Natalie, complete strangers knew my face, my apartment layout, my job. I had no clue how far this had spread. I could already imagine a nightmare scenario where a client or coworker found one of her videos and started seeing me as some joke instead of a professional. I clicked on another post. The caption: "Y'all asked, so here's the tea about my roommate's ex." My ex? The video was Natalie sitting on the couch, dramatically sighing, while text popped up over the screen. "So, mysterious roommate had a really messy breakup, and let me tell you, it was wild. Basically, he was totally obsessed with his ex, but she dumped him because he was super controlling. I never met her, but I low-key feel bad for her. Anyway, he still looks at her Instagram, so..." I stopped reading. That was a lie. My last relationship had ended amicably almost 2 years ago. No drama, no obsession. But Natalie had rewritten the story, making me sound like some pathetic, possessive loser. And the worst part? People believed her. EW, he seems like a walking red flag. Girl, move out before he snaps. LMAO stalker vibes. I wanted to scream. This wasn't just filming me anymore. She was creating a version of me that didn't even exist. She was twisting my life into some exaggerated narrative just to entertain people. And now, her followers weren't just watching. They were judging me. I clenched my phone. My face felt hot with anger, but beneath that, there was something worse. This wasn't going to stop. Natalie wasn't going to stop. I had to do something. And I had to do it now. I wasn't thinking straight anymore. My heart pounded as I stared at the endless flood of comments, the sheer number of people dissecting my life as if I were a character in a TV show. Strangers had more opinions about me than my own friends. And the worst part? They only knew the version of me that Natalie created. I wanted to confront her right away, to storm into her room and demand she take everything down. But I knew how this worked. If I lost my temper, she'd twist it, film it, edit it, and turn it into even more content. Angry roommate meltdown would be the next viral clip, and I'd be branded as dangerous. No. If I was going to stop this, I had to be smart. First, I documented everything. I took screenshots of every post, every video, every comment where people talked about finding me. I didn't know if I would need them yet, but I wasn't about to let Natalie erase the evidence when things turned against her. Then, I made a decision. I wasn't asking her to take it down. I was making sure she had no choice. I started small, reporting her videos for privacy violations. At first, nothing happened. But I wasn't done. I dug through her profile and found clips where she had accidentally revealed too much. Our apartment building's entrance, a package with my last name on it in the background, even a brief reflection of her laptop screen showing her messages about how she needed more drama or engagement. That was all I needed. I sent an email directly to the platform support team, attaching the evidence and making it clear my personal information was being shared without my consent. This was a privacy and safety violation. Then I waited. And oh, did things escalate fast. Within hours, videos started disappearing. The most viral ones, the ones with the biggest engagement, were taken down first. Then entire sections of her profile started vanishing. I knew Natalie had noticed when I heard her phone buzzing nonstop through the walls. At first, she probably thought it was a glitch. Then I heard her groan, then curse, then stomp through the apartment. My stomach twisted as I braced myself for the inevitable confrontation. But when she finally came to me, she wasn't angry. She was panicked. I looked up from my laptop as she hovered in the doorway, clutching her phone with wide, desperate eyes. For the first time since all this started, she wasn't smug. She wasn't laughing. She wasn't in control. And I wasn't about to save her. Because the real backlash hadn't even started yet. Natalie stood in my doorway, her face pale, her lips slightly parted as if she wanted to say something but didn't know where to start. I watched her grip her phone, scrolling frantically, her fingers shaking. "Something wrong?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral. She blinked, as if only just realizing I was there. Then she swallowed hard and let out a forced laugh. "It's so weird. My videos keep getting taken down." I said nothing. Her eyes darted to me. "Did you, report them?" I tilted my head, pretending to think. "Report what?" She hesitated, searching my face for any sign that I knew what was happening. I wasn't about to give her that satisfaction. But I already knew. The takedowns were just the beginning. I opened my laptop and refreshed her page. Her follower count was dropping. The videos that hadn't been deleted were flooded with angry comments. Apparently, I wasn't the only one who had been keeping receipts. Her fans had turned on her. People were digging through her old content, pointing out how messed up it was. "Wait, this is actually creepy. Why did we think this was okay? He didn't even know he was being filmed? WTF. OMG, she broke into his room? Imagine if the roles were reversed. This is straight up harassment." The tide had shifted. The same audience that had once hyped her up, who had laughed along as she humiliated me, was now tearing her apart. And then I saw it. A post from a bigger creator, one with millions of followers, calling her out. Natalie's face was frozen in a still image from one of her videos, overlaid with bold text. "This influencer secretly filmed her roommate for months. And what she did while he was asleep is actually terrifying." The video had already racked up hundreds of thousands of views. The comments were brutal. People were tagging the platform, demanding she be banned. Some were even digging through public records, trying to find out her real name. This was worse than she had ever expected. She thought she was in control of the narrative. That she could edit reality however she wanted. But now, the internet was editing her. Her breath hitched. They're turning everything against me," she mumbled. "They think I'm some kind of stalker?" I offered. She flinched. I stood up, slowly, keeping my gaze locked on her. "Maybe because that's what you are." Her face crumpled. But I wasn't done yet. Because the final nail in her coffin was still coming. I wish I could say I felt bad for her. Watching Natalie's entire social media empire collapse in real time should have made me feel something. Sympathy, pity, even the satisfaction of revenge. But all I felt was relief. Her content was disappearing faster than she could react. Video after video was getting removed, Her follower count nosediving with every passing hour. Her carefully curated image, the quirky, fun-loving influencer, was gone. In its place was the real Natalie. The one who had been exposed for what she was. A creep. A liar. A stalker. And she knew it. I watched her spiral in real time. The pacing. The frantic typing. The desperate, shaky voice notes she was sending to someone, probably begging another influencer to defend her. But no one was coming to save her. Because this time, she wasn't controlling the narrative. And then, the final blow landed. The platform banned her account. Gone. Just like that. Natalie let out a sharp gasp, her hands flying to her mouth as she stared at her screen. Her entire identity, her followers, her sponsorships, the brand she had spent years building, wiped out in seconds. She turned to me, her eyes red, her breath shaky. I walked past her before she could finish. I was done listening. I packed my things that night. I didn't care about the lease, about the logistics. I wasn't spending another night in that apartment with her. I found a new place by the end of the week, far away, where no one knew my name, where I could finally breathe without wondering if someone was secretly watching. The last time I saw Natalie was when I came back for the rest of my stuff. She looked hollow. She wasn't filming. Wasn't laughing. Just sitting in the same spot on the couch, scrolling through her phone, like she was still waiting for it to load back up. It never did. And as I shut the door behind me, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Freedom. But even now, sometimes, when I'm in a new coffee shop or walking through a park, I feel a prickle of paranoia. I catch someone looking at me, and for a split second, I wonder, do they recognize me? Do they remember the version of me she created? I shake it off. I remind myself that I have my life back. That Natalie is the only one who lost everything. But deep down, I know the truth. On the internet, nothing ever really disappears.